Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories where they did go above legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, law firms, and their clients. And let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my very special guest is Heather O'Connor. She is an attorney with O'Connor Family Law in Westboro and Hanover, Massachusetts, focusing on family law. Welcome, Heather.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Heather, what brought you to the law?
Sure. So my story is a little different than I think most people who are like, oh, I want to be a lawyer and that's their life goal. I actually got married very young and we had 3 children together. The marriage went downhill and I ended up going through a divorce. So within my divorce, it was actually seeing court for the first time and the experience I had where my marriage wasn't great. And it was a lack of really empathy and understanding that I saw from the attorney that I was working with, as well as other people who I would talk to that were going through the same thing, where they'd say, my lawyer seems to understand the law and they say all the right things. They just don't get it. And it was that getting it that really resonated with me and made me decide I wanted to do something to change how people went through divorce and how they felt going through a divorce. So with 3 kids under the age of 6 and nothing more than a high school diploma, I went back to community college, then I went to undergrad, then I went to law school, and then I started my legal career and ended up opening my own firm in 2016.
And what was the thought process as you were going through that educational process? It was both slow motion in that it takes time, and I'm sure it couldn't have been fast enough.
Well, and it's funny because when I first told my lawyer, because my ex was terrible with paying child support, and my lawyer looked at me and said, Heather, what are you going to do? And that's when I told him, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to go back to school. And it was a complete Reese Witherspoon, Legally Blonde moment where I was like, this is what I'm doing. And he looked at me and he said, do you have any idea what you'd be getting yourself into? And I was like, nope, but I will figure it out. And that's what I did. And it was one of those things after going through it, looking back, it took way more than I ever expected, but it's like anything else. Somebody asked a question the other day of what happens if you want to change your career later in life? What are the obstacles? What are the challenges? And my response was, you don't always know what every obstacle and every challenge is going to be, but you just do it. And when you commit to it, you just do it and you get through it. And that was exactly what it was like.
I guess Nike stole your tagline.
Yeah, I might have stole theirs, but now it's just do it, but do it better than the other people.
So tell us a story that you wanted to share with us today.
Sure. So after I had started practicing and I was working for another firm, so this was before I had even opened my own, and I had this client that came in. It was a husband who had been charged with attempted murder because he had caught his wife cheating on him and went after the boyfriend. And he came to me so angry and so full of blame, pointing the finger, this is her fault. And granted, she had taken advantage of a situation as well and turned the kids against him. So there was a lot of conflict in this case. And I remember saying to him, I'm willing to take this on. I'm willing to fight for you, but what I need you to do is take responsibility for your own actions, because you can't control her. You can't control anybody else. You can only control you. Now, I am by no means an actual therapist, but I did do a lot of work and healing through my own divorce process. So I do have an outlook where you can always work on making yourself better, no matter what your circumstances are. And with this case, this man really clung to that. He did have an individual therapist as well, but then he would call me. Now, mind you, I'm charging premium dollar working as a lawyer, but he would call me and just talk about, how he was feeling and how he wanted to overcome those, where it got to the point where I said, this isn't really legal work. This is more stuff that your therapist should be doing and talking to you. And he said, yeah, I know. And I know you're charging me for it, but I get more out of you than I do my actual therapist, and I feel better. And what I saw, and this case definitely influenced the way that I've taken my firm at this point in moving forward. And he grasped this idea of responsibility and self-control to the point where there was one time we're sitting in a room and his wife is just pushing his buttons. She knew exactly what to say to get him angry. And he remained so calm. And it was a huge turning point in this case where we went at the very beginning from him having absolutely no contact with his children and his kids really saying that they hated him, to we walked away with sole legal and physical custody. He got the house, the wife got kicked out, and she actually ended up having to pay my attorney fees. And it was all because of his outlook and how he changed. And so I could sit here and pat myself in the back and be like, oh, we got this amazing legal result, but I could not have gotten that result if he hadn't done the work. And it was that experience that, and my own, coupled with it, that made me realize how important it is for every single person going through a divorce, through a custody matter, that they really focus on them. Because if you focus on the other side and everything the other side's doing wrong, that's where your energy is going to be, and that's where your case is going to go, rather than you moving forward. So our goal is, obviously to get the best legal result in the words on that piece of paper, but also to bring people through a process of really self-change and awareness so that then when they leave us, they're living, an incredible life. And so that's the vision of our goal.
So again, today my guest is Heather O'Connor. She's an attorney with O'Connor Family Law in Massachusetts, again, focusing on family law. Heather, for those that want to contact you, can you share your phone number twice, please?
Sure. So our phone number is 774-314-4725. That's 774-314-4725.
And can you share some social media telemetry so they can find you online?
Sure. I think whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if you just do O'Connor Family Law, one word, you'll find us. And our website is familylawma.com.
Great. Thank you, Heather. This has been the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast, again, highlighting attorneys that go above and beyond. Today was a stellar example of that. If you're an attorney or know one that might be appropriate for this podcast, please reach out to us at success@samalinwealth.com. That's success@samalinwealth.com. Heather, thank you again.
Thank you so much.